You all are welcome to Flick Scores.
It's Please Cause.
Hi guys, and I am back again. My name still remains EK Banks, that original Igbo boy. And I told you, bringing you the best of movie reviews from Hollywood movies to Nollywood movies to Bollywood right now. So basically, my sister actually told me about a movie. Um, an Indian movie actually. So this movie is actually for people who actually understands what love is, and especially I would just dedicate this movie actually I'm about to review to all the mothers out there. So please, this movie is a must watch for you guys. I know women, I'm not saying guys also watch this movie because it teaches a lot, man. It teaches so much as a husband or as a brother or as an in-law. If so much, the movie is packed. So the name of the movie I'll actually be reviewing today is actually an Indian movie, Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway. Yeah, that's the name of the movie. I know though I don't understand though. These guys, I don't know why you guys name this movie like this, but though I get the picture, but I just felt it's not usual, but a wonderful movie. So I'm going to drop straight into the storyline and I will read out exactly what the movie is about. So let's go.
It's Please Cause.
Um, an immigrant Indian mother fights the Norwegian foster care system and legal machinery to win back custody of her children. So I'll explain it. Now, this is what we'll see online about the movie. But I'll explain exactly what the movie is about. So an Indian family living in Norway. Now they are immigrants, obviously. Now she has two kids. One is just months old, the other one some years. So basically, we know culture and what culture means for Indians. Same like Africans. This is an Indian family and she's trying to raise her children in the Indian way, even though she's in a different country, which, according to our human rights and laws backing cultures and ethnicity and everything, you have to be allowed to portray your culture as long as it's not affecting the country you're staying in. And basically, it wasn't. So this woman actually got entangled with an illegal foster care system in Norway. So these guys actually make money through taking kids from their parents and then infusing them in adoption and so many things, man. So she was actually a victim of this. Now the storyline showed so many things. It showed her abusive husband. It showed a very stupid man that could not actually support his wife. He was just after his citizenship. That's why I told you this movie is not just for women alone. So I'm trying to explain to you guys what the storyline is about. Those of you that have actually not watched the movie, I would implore you to watch this movie. This woman showed resilience, she showed strength, she showed love, she showed that she could actually break down. That she actually showed she had a point whereas she could actually break down. And this her kids were actually the key to that. So when these kids were taken back from her, man, you should watch. I know you're seeing clips already. You should watch how emotional this woman was throughout the process and how she got back her kids. It shows the love of a mother and shows how she fought for her children. The storyline for Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway for me, I know most people will be like, there was me, I have some glitches, some parts that I did not agree with the movie. Like, for a man who has actually been in Norway for so many years and was close to getting his citizenship, and not only getting his citizenship, he has been working in a respected company for so many years in Norway, and also he has never had any police case or any criminal record to his name. And he had a wonderful house. So I don't know why they portrayed, to I know this was organized crime, but it didn't look to me like organized crime. because I felt if it was organized crime by this illegal foster care system, they would have actually taken on families that didn't actually have the capacity to train their children. This man had the capacity to train his two kids. He had the capacity to train four kids. That was what the movie showed us, because he was working well, he was living fine. The house where these people were living was also fine. So I don't know why they said the house was not conducive and stuff. That was why I got issues with the movie. Apart from this, it was a wonderful storyline. Wonderful. So I would actually give the storyline for this movie a 17 over 20. Now, moving along to the cast and delivery for this movie.
It's click scores.
Okay, so guys, before jumping straight into the character of the movie, I thought of giving you guys, because most times when I'm giving my Hollywood movies, I don't even bother giving you guys the director of the movie or the distribution company or when the movie was released. Sometimes I do, but because it's an Indian movie and I feel you guys should know most of these names that are not yet known and exactly what they could do, I would actually give you guys the name of the director and some other things. So this movie was actually released on the 17th of March 2023, and it was directed by Oshima Chiba. So keep the name, you can Google it up, check out what this person has actually been doing in the movie scene. Distributed by Z Studios, obviously. Now it was produced by Monisha Advani, Madhu Bojwani, and Nikhil Advani. So basically, we have production companies, Emmy Entertainment, and Z Studios. So now I'm going to jump straight into the cast for this movie, and I told you I'll be giving you three main cast. So now the woman who actually blew my mind away was Mrs. Chatterjee. I know I've watched movies about people showing how their culture should be portrayed, but this woman actually portrayed a pure Indian woman. I've been opportune to live around these people my life, and I know how they behave. They take culture so seriously, even more than Africans, believe me, 100%. So this woman actually portrayed that she was an Indian mother. This is a woman that was not an illiterate. She actually has a bachelor's in science, and she's not an illiterate. But because of how their culture may have seemed, and how she portrayed it, people might be like, ah, she's an illiterate. She's feeding her daughter or she's feeding her son food from with her hand. She's doing some things, but this is just their culture. You get me? And she portrayed that 100%. So the woman who acted Miss Chatterjee is known as Rani Mukerji. She's an Indian actress, and she actually portrayed the character of Mrs. Chatterjee. Now, the most stupid person in this movie is actually Mr. Chatterjee. Very stupid man, and that his brother. Yeah, very very stupid man. He actually portrayed the character of an abusive father, an abusive husband, and someone who actually, there are some men that actually doesn't give any respect or whatsoever for their in-laws or for their wife. Basically, I think it is their wife, because I feel the only time a man would disrespect his in-law is when he doesn't respect his wife. You get me? So in that movie, it showed us the fact that he could even raise his hand, on his wife in front of parents of his wife. So that was how crazy this guy was. And he wasn't showing it when the movie was like, ah, you get me. And then another thing was like he didn't show much love and much seriousness to get back his children. He was just concerned about the material things he wanted to get, which number one was his citizenship. So he actually portrayed that character well. And his name, I cannot pronounce his name, but his name is on the screen right here. He actually portrayed the character of Mr. Chatterjee. And then the last person I would actually be infusing into my characters here is Nina Gupta, who acted as Vasudha Kamat. That's the Indian telecom giant who actually came to Norway to actually, do things with Norway, India, Norway, telecom matters and stuff. And then Mrs. Chatterjee spoke to this woman, and then she went back to India to talk to the parliament to get these children back from the foster system of Norway. So basically, these three characters in this movie portrayed it right. The last woman who I just spoke about did not actually give They don't actually act so much in the movie, but she actually gave us 100% what it felt like to be a woman in power. Do you get me? So it was exceptional from them. I'll give the cast and delivery for this movie a 19 over 20. So moving along to the visuals, nothing serious, guys. I'll be very straight. The visuals for these movies were wonderful for a movie, an Indian movie situated in Norway and also in India. So they gave us vibes. I love the fact that when Mrs. Chatterjee came back to Norway, it looked exactly like no, it looked exact. Sorry, when she came back to India, it looked exactly like India. It wasn't like they just gave us India in Norway. It was exactly India, and then Norway also was exceptional. The cut scenes was wonderful. The camera cinematography was on point. Lighting, every single thing for the visuals of this movie were wonderful. So I would give the visuals for this movie an 18. Moving along to the costume and makeup. Now, because it's an Indian movie, I love the fact that I already spoke about the husband, Mr. Chatterjee, and I told you he was just interested in his citizenship. Now, and they showed an Indian mother who actually, I told you, they love their culture. She was always in their attires 247. The only time in that movie where this woman was not actually putting on the Indian sari and everything was when she actually adopted her kids and took them over to Sweden, but she was actually caught in the process and was charged with kidnapping and stuff. So basically, the costume and makeup was wonderful. It looked like an Indian couple in Norway. She looked Indian. When her family came over, they looked Indian. When he was going to work, Mr. Chatterjee, he looked like an Indian going to work, with the glasses and his hair and everything. He just had to wear the normal European clothing. So for costume and makeup for this movie, I would give the costume and makeup for this movie a 17. Going straight into the sound. Now, you can never have an Indian movie without having songs and dance and Now, for this movie, it was not. It's not a happy movie. I'll put it like that. It's not a movie for you to just be happy. It had so many sad scenes and emotional scenes. So the Indian songs that were infused anytime Mrs. Chatterjee was actually having a flashback of she and her kids were actually wonderful. So the movie was exceptional. The sound for the movie wonderful. It's a movie I can watch over and over again because it tells so much about love. It tells so much about who you should get married to, and it tells so much about you understanding the rules and regulations of a country you're going to or you're immigrating or you're migrating to. Sorry. So basically, yeah, the sound for this movie, I would also give the sound for this movie a 19.
It's fixed cars.
The storyline for this movie, I gave the storyline for this movie is 17, and I moved over to the cast and delivery in 19, visuals 18, costume and makeup 17, and lastly sound in 19. So basically, guys, when I add this all up, it gives me 20. This is a wonderful review, wonderful ratings for this movie, which obviously is wonderful. I know when you guys watch this movie, you'll be like, yeah, this guy, you actually, your opinion about this movie, because remember, Flick Scores is opinion based, was actually uh, good. You get me? So, guys, divide by 5 and we get a solid 18. So, Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, I'll give it an 18. I actually gave it an 18 over 20. So, guys, remember to subscribe to Flick Scores all our channels, YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, every single thing. So, guys, please remember to subscribe and also click on the notification button to get information. Info is important, guys, about Flick Scores and about when we drop a movie, guys. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.